They always said they couldn't afford to celebrate my birthday while renting out ballrooms for my sisters. I said nothing until I bought a private lake house and posted, "Thanks for the motivation." Their jealous reactions came fast and loud. I, 32M, grew up thinking I was the problem. My parents made me believe that wanting a birthday party was selfish, that asking for attention was ungrateful. They said money was tight, that we had to be practical, that celebrations were wasteful. I believed them for years until I realized the truth wasn't about money at all. My sister is 3 years younger than me. From the moment she was born, she became the center of everything. I watched my 5th birthday come and go with a grocery store cupcake and a forced smile from Mom, who seemed annoyed I even expected that much. 2 months later, my sister turned 2 and my parents rented out a section of a local restaurant, invited 20 people, hired a photographer, and bought a custom cake that probably cost more than my entire birthday budget for the next decade combined. I told myself it was because she was younger, cuter, more social. I made excuses for them because that's what kids do when they can't process rejection from the people who are supposed to love them unconditionally. Every year the pattern repeated itself. My birthdays were acknowledged with a card, maybe dinner at home if I was lucky, and a lecture about being grateful for what I had. Her birthdays were events. By the time she turned 8, they were renting hotel ballrooms. I stopped asking for parties when I turned 12. Mom seemed relieved when I told her I didn't want anything special. She said I was finally becoming mature and understanding how the real world worked. 3 weeks later, they threw my sister a poolside party at a country club for her 9th birthday. I spent that afternoon in my room doing homework while I listened to kids laughing and splashing below my window. High school was worse because I started understanding what was happening. I got a job at 15, started saving every dollar I made. My parents praised me for being responsible and independent. They never praised my sister for anything because they never expected anything from her. She got money whenever she asked. I got lectures about building character through hard work. When I turned 18, I bought myself a used laptop with money I had saved for 2 years. My parents barely acknowledged it. When my sister turned 15, they surprised her with a brand new car and threw a sweet 15 party that must have cost them $10,000. I drove that car to community college because I couldn't afford university. My parents said I should have worked harder for scholarships. My sister failed half her classes that year, and they hired her a tutor and blamed the school system. I moved out at 20 and worked full-time while finishing my degree at night. It took me 6 years to graduate, but I did it without asking them for anything. They never offered. My sister went to an expensive private university on their dime and dropped out after 2 years because she wanted to find herself. They supported her decision and paid for her apartment while she figured things out. I started working in finance, entry-level position that barely covered my rent and student loans. I lived in a studio apartment with furniture from thrift stores and ate rice and beans most nights. My sister moved back home, and my parents redecorated her childhood bedroom to make her more comfortable. I visited once during that time and saw they had converted my old room into a home gym. The turning point came when I was 26. I had worked my way up to a decent position and was starting to make real money. I called my parents to tell them I had gotten a promotion, and my mom interrupted me to ask if I could contribute to my sister's birthday party fund. She was turning 23 and wanted to rent a venue downtown for a big celebration. Mom said they were a bit short this year, and since I was doing well, maybe I could help family out. I asked her how much they needed. She said $3,000 without hesitation, like it was nothing. I told her I would think about it, and she sounded annoyed that I didn't immediately agree. I hung up and sat in my apartment looking at my empty walls and secondhand furniture, and something inside me finally broke free from whatever spell I had been under my entire life. I didn't give them the money. My sister's party happened anyway. They must have found it somewhere or put it on credit cards. I wasn't invited, but I saw the photos on social media. It looked like a wedding reception. That was when I decided to stop trying to earn their love and start building my own life. I doubled down on work, took every opportunity, networked relentlessly, and made investments that scared me but paid off. I stopped calling them unless they called first, which was rare. I stopped visiting unless absolutely necessary. I poured all the energy I had wasted trying to be good enough for them into becoming successful for myself. The money started coming faster than I expected. Good decisions compounded into better opportunities. By 28, I had moved into a decent apartment and bought a reliable car. By 30, I was making 6 figures and had paid off my student loans. My parents never asked about my life. My sister complained on social media about how hard it was to find yourself in your 20s. Last year, I made a decision that changed everything. I had been looking at investment properties and stumbled across a listing for a lake house about 2 hours from the city. It was more than a house, really, almost an estate. Private lake access, boat dock for bedrooms, wall-to-wall windows overlooking the water, and most importantly, it was mine if I wanted it. I could afford it. That realization hit me hard. I could actually afford to buy this place outright if I wanted to, or at least put down enough that the mortgage would be manageable. I scheduled a viewing, fell in love with it immediately, and made an offer that same day. 2 months later, I was signing papers and getting keys to a property that would have seemed impossible to kid me eating birthday cupcakes alone in his room. I spent months renovating it exactly how I wanted. I hired contractors, picked out furniture, installed a home theater, built a deck that extended over the water, and created a space that was entirely mine. Every decision I made, I thought about that kid who was told he didn't deserve celebrations, who was made to feel guilty for wanting what his sister got without asking. I didn't tell my parents about the house. I didn't tell my sister. I moved through the purchase and renovation in complete silence as far as they were concerned. They still rarely called, and when they did, it was usually my mom asking if I could help my sister with rent or some expense. I had started saying no consistently. Mom said I had become cold. My 32nd birthday came around last month. Nobody from my family reached out. Not a call, not a text, nothing. I spent the day at my lake house with friends I had made who actually gave a damn about me. We grilled food, went out on the boat, watched the sunset from the deck, and I felt more celebrated than I had in 3 decades. The next day, I posted photos on social media for the first time in years. I never posted much before because I didn't want to share my life with people who didn't care about it. But something in me wanted them to see this. I wanted them to know what I had built without them. I posted a series of photos showing the lake house from different angles, the interior, the view, the dock, everything. I kept the caption simple and direct. Thanks for the motivation. Then I tagged the location so there would be no confusion about what I owned. The response from friends and former colleagues was immediate and congratulatory. People I hadn't heard from in years reached out to say they were proud of me and happy to see me doing well. That felt good, but it wasn't why I posted. My mother called within 3 hours. I almost didn't answer, but curiosity got the better of me. She asked if the photos were real, if I really bought that place. I confirmed I had. She went silent for a moment and then asked why I didn't tell them. I reminded her that nobody had called me on my birthday last week. She said they had been busy with my sister who was going through a hard time. I asked what kind of hard time. She said my sister had been feeling depressed about where her life was going. I told my mom I was sorry to hear that, but didn't offer anything else. She asked if I had bought the house as some kind of statement. I said no. I bought it because I wanted it and could afford it. She said it seemed like I was showing off. I asked her if my sister's ballroom parties had been showing off. She got defensive and said that was different, that my sister needed those celebrations to build her confidence. The call ended badly. She said I had changed and not for the better. I said she was right. I had changed. I stopped waiting for them to love me the way they loved my sister. My father called that evening. He was more direct. He said the post was disrespectful and made the family look bad. I asked him how exactly it made them look bad. He stumbled over his words and eventually said it made it obvious they hadn't helped me financially. I told him that was true. They hadn't helped me at all. He said I was being ungrateful for everything they did provide. I asked him to list what they provided after I turned 18. He couldn't come up with much. The conversation spiraled into an argument about fairness and perception. He accused me of being bitter and holding grudges. I told him I wasn't bitter anymore. I had just stopped pretending we were a close family when we clearly weren't. He said family was supposed to support each other. I agreed and said I had been waiting 32 years for that support to go both ways. My sister sent a long message later that night. She said my post had upset everyone and made her feel terrible about her own life. She said I was rubbing my success in her face, and it wasn't fair because I had always been smarter and more driven. She said she struggled with things that came easily to me, and my post made her feel like a failure. I read her message 3 times before responding. I told her I was sorry she felt that way, but I didn't post anything to hurt her. I posted because I was proud of what I built and wanted to share it. I reminded her that she had never hesitated to post about her parties, her gifts, her experiences that our parents funded. She said that was different because everyone expected her to have those things. That response told me everything. She actually believed she deserved what she got while I deserved what I got. The inequality was so normalized in our family that she couldn't even see it. Update 1. The fallout continued for weeks. My mother started calling regularly, which was ironic since she barely called twice a year before. She kept trying to convince me to take down the post because it was causing family drama. I refused. She said I was being stubborn and prideful. I said she was probably right about both. My sister's messages became more frequent and more hostile. She accused me of always being jealous of her. She said I resented her for being more social and likable. She said our parents threw her parties because people actually wanted to celebrate with her, implying nobody would have come to mine. That message hurt more than I expected it to, which told me I still had healing to do. I responded once to that message. I told her I was never jealous of her parties. I was hurt that our parents chose to prioritize her happiness over mine consistently for our entire lives. I said I didn't resent her for being celebrated. I resented being made to feel like I didn't deserve celebration. I said I hoped she found what she was looking for in life, but I was done being the family scapegoat who was expected to succeed without support while she was supported without expectation of success. She didn't respond after that. My parents tried a different approach. They started talking about family unity and how we needed to come together. My mother suggested a family dinner at a nice restaurant where we could talk things through. I agreed to go because I wanted to see if they were capable of hearing me. The dinner was exactly what I expected. My parents spent the first 20 minutes making small talk and pretending everything was normal. My sister barely looked at me. When we finally addressed the issue, my father said he wanted to understand why I was so angry after all these years. I laid it out clearly. I explained every birthday disparity, every financial decision that favored my sister, every time I was told we couldn't afford something for me right before they spent thousands on her. I explained how it felt to work full-time through college while watching her drop out of school they paid for. I explained how they never asked about my life unless they needed something from me. My mother cried. She said they did their best and never meant to make me feel less loved. My father said I was looking at the past through a distorted lens. My sister said I was ruining what should be a nice family dinner with old complaints. I asked them a simple question. I asked them to name one birthday of mine they remembered celebrating in any meaningful way. The table went silent. My mother eventually said something about a cake when I was 7. My father couldn't remember any specifics. My sister said she couldn't be expected to remember my birthdays when she was younger than me. I asked them to name one of my sister's birthday parties. They all started talking at once, sharing memories and laughing about different celebrations. They didn't even realize what they were doing. I put money on the table for my meal and stood up. I told them I didn't need an apology or acknowledgement anymore. I had spent too many years waiting for them to see me. I told them I hoped they were happy with the family dynamic they created, but I was done participating in it. I said they were welcome to visit the lake house if they ever wanted to have a real relationship with me, but I wouldn't be attending any more family functions where I was treated like an obligation. My mother called after me as I walked out, but I didn't stop. Update 2. That was 6 weeks ago. I haven't heard from any of them since the dinner. My social media post is still up, and I've stopped checking if they comment or respond to it. Several extended family members reached out after seeing the post and the subsequent family drama that apparently spread through our relatives. 2 cousins I hadn't spoken to in years messaged me privately. They said they had noticed the favoritism growing up, but didn't feel like it was their place to say anything. They said they were proud of me for succeeding despite it, and for finally standing up for myself. That validation from people who witnessed my childhood meant more than I expected. An aunt on my father's side called me. She said my father had always favored my sister because she reminded him of his own sister, who died young. She said it wasn't an excuse, but might be an explanation. She said my mother went along with it to keep peace in her marriage. She said they probably convinced themselves they were being fair because they didn't want to face their own behavior. That conversation gave me some closure. Understanding their psychological reasoning didn't make what they did right, but it helped me let go of the idea that there was something wrong with me that made me unlovable to them. Their issues were their own. I've been spending more time at the lake house. I hosted Thanksgiving there with friends instead of going to my parents' house. I didn't announce I wasn't coming. I just didn't show up. My mother sent a text asking where I was. I responded that I was celebrating with people who celebrated me back. She didn't reply. My sister posted photos from their Thanksgiving on social media. It was clearly at a nice restaurant, just the three of them. The caption was about gratitude for family who stick together. I didn't react to the post. I didn't need to. Last week, something unexpected happened. My sister's best friend from high school reached out to me through a mutual connection. She asked if we could talk. I was hesitant, but agreed to a phone call. She told me my sister had been struggling significantly since my social media post. She said my sister had built her entire identity around being the favored child, and my success, without family support, had shattered her worldview. She said my sister was in therapy now and starting to realize how toxic the family dynamic had been, including how she had benefited from it at my expense. She said my sister wanted to reach out, but was afraid I would reject her. She said my sister had written and deleted dozens of messages to me. She asked if I would be open to hearing from my sister if she could find the courage to send an apology. I told her I appreciated the call, but I needed to be honest. I said I didn't trust my sister's sudden realization was genuine and not just a response to seeing me succeed. I said if my sister wanted to apologize, I would read it, but I wasn't promising forgiveness or reconciliation. I said I had spent my whole life being the understanding one who made things easier for everyone else, and I was done with that role. She said she understood and thanked me for being honest. She said she hoped we could eventually repair things, but respected my boundaries. I thought about that conversation for days. Part of me wanted to believe my sister was genuinely changing. Part of me recognized it might just be another way to center herself in a narrative where I was supposed to be supporting cast. The message from my sister came 3 days ago. It was long, detailed, and raw. She acknowledged specific moments where she had been cruel or dismissive. She admitted she had been spoiled and enabled. She said therapy was helping her see how the favoritism had actually damaged her too by preventing her from developing resilience and self-reliance. She said she didn't expect forgiveness but wanted me to know she was sorry and working on becoming better. She didn't ask for anything. She didn't suggest we get together or try to restart a relationship. She just apologized and said she hoped I was happy. I haven't responded yet. I'm not sure I will. The apology felt genuine, but I've learned that feeling something doesn't make it real. I've learned that people can be sorry and still not be safe to let back into your life. I've learned that forgiveness is optional and reconciliation even more so. What I do know is that I'm finally free. Free from waiting for them to see my worth. Free from measuring my success against their approval. Free from the weight of being the forgotten child in a family that should have loved me better. The lake house sits on the water exactly as I designed it. My 32nd birthday wasn't celebrated by my family, but it was celebrated by people who chose me and I chose back. That's worth more than any ballroom party could ever be. Sometimes my mother calls and I don't answer. Sometimes I think about what it would take to rebuild those relationships. Mostly I focus on the life I built from nothing, the one they said I should be grateful to survive, the one that turned out to be more beautiful than anything they ever gave my sister. The post stays up. The message stays clear. Thanks for the motivation. They made me believe I wasn't worth celebrating. I proved them wrong. That's the only revenge that ever really mattered. If you like this story, please like this video and subscribe us for more such real-life-based stories. Thanks in advance.